U.S. Israel-Hamas war. Nancy Pelosi suggests foreign influence behind U.S. pro-Palestinian activism. What to know? January 30, 2024, 3:30 a.m. EST. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has drawn criticism for suggesting that some pro-Palestinian activism in the U.S. is part of a foreign influence operation. On Sunday, the Democratic representative from California said she would like the FBI to investigate potential Russian connections and funding behind American calls for an armistice in the Israel-Hamas war. Responding to a question on CNN's State of the Union about growing anger among Democrats, particularly young people and Arab Americans, at the Biden administration's handling of the conflict, Pelosi said, "What we have to do is try to stop the suffering in Gaza. But for them to call for a ceasefire is Mr. Putin's message." A message by activists calling for a ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war, outside Nancy Pelosi's San Francisco home, where the group Code Pink led a demonstration on December 17, 2023. Tayfun Coskun, Anadolu, Getty Images. Make no mistake, this is directly connected to what he would like to see, Pelosi continued. "I think some of these protesters are spontaneous and organic and sincere," she caveated. "Some, I think, are connected to Russia. And I say that having looked at this for a long time now, as you know." When asked by CNN correspondent Dana Bash to clarify if she thought some protests were Russian plants, Pelosi replied, "Seeds or plants? I think some financing should be investigated, and I want to ask the FBI to investigate that." Russian President Vladimir Putin has openly blamed the US and the West for the crisis in Gaza, and experts say he is trying to use the widespread backlash toward the mounting toll on Palestinians to counter the US's global influence. Pelosi, however, appears to be the first and most senior US official to publicly claim that Russia, which the U.S. intelligence community concluded meddled in both the 2016 and 2020 presidential elections, is actively attempting to splinter the Democratic Party's base through the American pro-Palestinian movement ahead of the 2024 contest in November. Read more. What Russia hopes to gain from the Israel-Hamas conflict. Adding to her charges of Russian influence, in a video posted by the anti-war group Code Pink on X on Monday, Pelosi can be seen telling activists outside her home in October to "go back to China where your headquarters is." Like Russia, China, which has called for a ceasefire but generally maintains a strategically ambiguous stance on the Israel-Hamas war, has been accused of using the war to undermine the U.S. Last August, The New York Times reported links between Code Pink and Beijing. The investigation concluded that the group, which also opposes U.S. funding and arming of Ukraine, is part of a lavishly funded influence campaign that defends China and pushes its propaganda.